Well, John, 22 seconds, the difference between standing here and talking about a good away point and standing here after a defeat last night. So how do you now go about picking yourself and everyone up around the training ground ahead of what is a massive game against Derby at the weekend?
I think it should be fairly straightforward. I think we're all looking forward to the game, and that gives us the motivation to get ourselves in the right mindset and to get as positive as we can be after last night. I think naturally everybody's going to be disappointed. Obviously the dressing room was very low last night, as I can imagine anybody connected with the football club was, but I think when you've got that opportunity 2 days later to bounce back, and brilliant circumstances really if you think about it. Home game, Fratton Park towards the back end of the season, the opportunity we've got to really sort of stamp ourselves on the game and to give ourselves a really good chance in the league. I think it's an amazing position to be in, and we've got to be positive about that.
One point we didn't mention last night was your changes. Thomas Waddingham, for example, coming into the 11 for his full debut. What did you make of him? Certainly looked a real handful for the Coventry defence.
Yeah, I thought he was exactly that. I thought he ran around really well, made some intelligent runs, competed physically well, and it was a real handful. I thought the only reason we brought him off was because 5 minutes after half time he started to flag. Naturally, with the output that we were asking from Tom, as a young lad coming over who's had a couple of injuries as well, his first start in English football, so I thought he did really well.
And stripping the game back and looking at the performance, we did on your analysis, there's certainly plenty to take from the first sort of 93 minutes from the performance. Yeah,
it's a really interesting one. If we hadn't have done what we did in the last 20 seconds, we'd be coming in here a lot more positive, very, very happy about a positive away performance. Maybe could have nicked it at the back end with the chance we had in the 92nd minute, and we would have been thinking, no, it was a really good away performance against an excellent Coventry side. So we can't take away from that. We've got to make sure that we're realistic about the performance and the fact it was there, and the fact we took a side all the way. But we've also got to make sure that we take the negatives as well and improve upon them, because we ultimately did concede a goal by doing things that we shouldn't have done. So we've got to make sure that we stamp all of that out before the weekend.
How do you make sure everyone's right physically with such a short turnaround?
It's a couple of days of just rest and recovery. There's not a huge amount we do in terms of work. It'll just be preparation. So we're going to move straight on to Derby today and start preparing for that from a tactical standpoint. And there won't be anything that we do physically.
What do you make of Derby?
Much improved side, very, very good form. The side that they took a point from the league leaders on Tuesday nights at home in a game that there's every chance that Derby could have scored and Derby could have won the game, I think. And then prior to the loss at Swansea at the weekend, I think 4 wins on the bounce with some really good clean sheets in there for them as well. So they're a real threat, I think. Very, very solid defensively and very, very dangerous going forward now as well in certain areas. So we have to be really wary of the threat they pose. It's going to be a tough game.
Naturally, obviously, pressure builds as the season draws to a close and there's still something to play for. Do you feel that's something your side can really thrive on when, especially playing at Fratton Park?
I think so. I think whenever the pressure's been on this season, I think we've responded really well. That's been a good hallmark of the team so far, is that when we've had disappointing results or disappointing performances, we've bounced back really well. And there's been a few games at home in particular where the feeling has been that we have to win this game to give ourselves half a chance. And I think it's been a really good trait that we've had this year. So I'm looking forward to it. I think it's one of those where we seem to perform a bit better when the pressure's on.
And like we said, it must be a huge aspect for you and the players to be back at Fratton Park this weekend.
Yeah, I think that's why everybody's looking forward to the game really, and why we can take a load of positives going into the weekend. Even after the result last night, it's a game back at Fratton Park. We love playing there. We've had some really good results there at the moment. It's going to be a brilliant atmosphere. With 5 games to go in the season, these are the sort of games that I think every player, every fan, every head coach should be dreaming of.